From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hi there and welcome to Headliners. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Right now, thousands are dead in Israel as the country goes to war with Hamas. In South Florida, a prominent rabbi is speaking about the attacks from Jerusalem. CBS News Miami's Peter Dench joins us from Hallandale Beach with what that rabbi is saying about the violence.
Rabbi Raphael Tenenhouse told me he was both deeply saddened and alarmed by what he has seen. He was in Jerusalem on Saturday when the attacks happened. He is still there right now. The loss of life in Israel horrifies Rabbi Raphael Tenenhouse.
I'm named after my grandfather who was killed in the Holocaust. My wife was named after people of her family that were killed in the Holocaust. So we know what evil is.
As we see in this video he shared with us, he was there for the end of the Jewish holiday, Sukkot.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Tenenhouse says he has seen how so many Israelis, after the attacks, are committed to the country's survival.
The people are tremendously united. There is incredible unity. This is one terrorist organization plus others that are trying to destroy a people. And we, the Jewish people, will never be destroyed. And we are going to be victorious.
Oh, Jerusalem.
Oh, Jerusalem.
Tenenhouse has been praying a lot for Israel.
What could you do as a Jew today? If you're a Jewish male, give up your arm, meaning roll up your sleeve, put on the tefillin.
The tefillin are two black leather boxes with straps and are used for weekday morning prayers and are worn on the forehead and upper arm.
I know what I'm doing. I'm walking down the streets of Jerusalem with my tefillin, which is the phylacteries. It's one of the 613 commandments.
Rabbi Tenenhouse told me he is struck by the resilience of people in Israel. He says he will be in Jerusalem for at least another week before returning to South Florida. In Hallandale Beach, Peter Dench, CBS News, Miami.
Hamas, which is considered a terrorist organization by the United States, has political control of the Gaza Strip. Its attack on Israel is the most recent example of resistance to the state of Israel. CBS News Miami's Hank Tester continues our team coverage now, and he reports on Israel's lengthy history of conflict with its neighbors.
How to get to this? Israel in conflict, under attack. Sadly, nothing new here. Been going on since the turn of the last century when the British, who were in charge of Palestine, were
promising a homeland for the Jews in Palestine, while at the same time working with Arab nationalists across the region who thought that they were going to get a unified Arab state.
Fast forward, 1948, British gone, the creation of the Jewish state, Israel, immediately surrounded by Arab nations. They're attacking. Surviving the onslaught, the nation emerges as a democratic outpost, but not without almost continual conflict and outright combat, like the 6 Days War of 1967, the Yom Kippur War, 1973.
Nothing really has changed.
The question is, whose homeland is it? Both sides claim prior rights to the land going way back, well, almost forever.
There's the history of religious wars.
Case in point, Jerusalem, Dome of the Rock and the Wailing Wall, sharing mighty close quarters.
The Dome of the Rock being and the Wailing Wall being the holiest site for Jews, being the third holiest site for Muslims.
Israel controls the site and all of the West Bank. Arabs, Muslims fume.
In an added way, even more combustible. Because you're adding religion on top of nationalism.
Over the years, attempts at peace in the Middle East, not much success, and now the violence of the Gaza Strip.
You have a right-wing government in Israel, which is taking an extremely maximalist position, and I think is in many ways paying the price for that position. On the flip side, Hamas, of course, taking a maximalist position and not recognizing the state and wanting to destroy the state.
No optimism from the professor. He told me it's very hard to see how this is going to be resolved in our lifetime. I'm Hank Tester, CBS News, Miami.
In South Florida, groups gathered last week to condemn the terrorist attack in Israel and to pray for peace. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner is in Cooper City, where there was a large showing at an interfaith ceremony.
From the University of Miami to Fort Lauderdale to Dania Beach to here in Cooper City, thousands showed up Wednesday evening to show their solidarity with Israel. And the message was clear. You do not have to be Jewish in order to understand the pain of the Jewish community. It's why Hindu American associations, Christians and Catholics showed up in numbers too. Modi Murad was born in Iraq.
1941, they want to kill us too. They killed 2,500 Jewish there. And then in 1950, they sent that to Israel.
His 4 sisters, 35 nieces and nephews still live in Israel. He said they are safe, but many are getting called back into the reserves.
They did tremendous, terrible things. It's not human being.
Wednesday evening, he showed up to Dania Beach City Hall to pray for everyone affected.
And I want to give everyone just a blessing.
Rabbi Eli Eckstein led the prayer for peace.
The reports are that it was the bloodiest attack since the Holocaust. And to experience such pain today, it's hard to live through it. So we're here tonight to tell the Jewish nation that we'll stand strong.
In Cooper City, the same message.
Think of interfaith love, not just the Jewish love, which seems more natural, but the people of all faiths were here tonight, and they came out in large numbers. And just that feeling of pride of the Jewish people lives.
Senator Roslyn Osgood is a proud Christian.
What I've experienced this week and watched at what happened in Israel is beyond anything I could ever even imagine. It was so cruel, so barbaric. And we have to stand together against evil.
Henry Patel said he recognizes his struggles in the Jewish communities.
As Hindu Americans from India, we have seen this in our country from many, many years since our freedom, the cross-border terrorism.
The Israeli Consulate General said condemning terrorism crosses religions, cultures, and party lines.
Here in Florida, the support is overwhelming from Republicans, for Democrats. They can differ on almost on any other thing. But when it comes to Israel, there is a completely like-minded.
Rabbi Eckstein says that there are people in the Jewish community right now who feel afraid to wear their kippas, afraid to wear their Jewish necklaces out in public. He said now is the time to wear it with pride. He said if Hamas was successful in making the Jewish community afraid, that Hamas won. In Cooper City, Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
When we come back, see why 17 Broward Sheriff's Office employees found themselves on the wrong side of the law. Stay with us.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. In Broward County, more than a dozen Broward Sheriff's Office employees are charged with fraud. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten joins us from Fort Lauderdale with what happened in court.
This case involves 17 BSO deputies. 8 of them are on the street. Another 9 are detention deputies. In all, 16 of them, as of today, are suspended without pay. The 17th quit. Been with BSO for 27 years.
17 BSO employees, some on the job for decades, appear in federal court charged with schemes to defraud the Payroll Protection Program, or PPP. That's a forgivable loan to keep small businesses afloat during COVID.
Anything about the charges filed against you guys?
No one charged wanted to talk about the allegations, but the U.S. Attorney's Office had plenty to say. They are leading the investigation.
The charging documents allege that these 17 defendants collectively receive approximately $500,000 through those offenses.
To my people in this organization, we have worked too hard to allow us to become sloppy and to have 1 or 2 individuals to tarnish our reputation.
Sheriff Gregory Toney had BSO begin the investigation back in 2021, then turned it over to the feds. He's disturbed that more than a dozen of his sworn deputies stand accused.
But I'm not going to sugarcoat or dance around this. At the end of the day, they will be gone. If they're being criminally charged, there's no place for this in this organization.
Attorney Brian Silber represents 3 of the deputies.
This is a very unfortunate situation. I will tell you that everybody is innocent until proven guilty in this country. everybody's entitled to due process.
The union says those officers deserve due process and goes on to say that most of the 5,500 employees who work here at BSO are very dedicated employees who work hard to keep the public safe. As for the investigation, it's still ongoing. It's unclear at this point if more charges could be filed. At BSO headquarters, Ted Scouten, CBS News Miami.
And now to mental health matters. CBS News Miami's commitment to finding solutions in our community. One local Parkland school shooting survivor is turning tragedy into action with an app created to help address mental health concerns. CBS News Miami's Chelsea Jones has the story of Joy.
Oh my God, I'm having a great day, or maybe it's confusing. I'm not really sure. Let's see how it turns out.
That's step one. You open up your app store and type in the word Joy, and it'll bring you to Joy AI Wellness Platform, created by Kai Korber and his research team at UC Berkeley.
It's the first app in the world that you can, open up, you can talk to it in any language you want. It'll recognize how you're feeling from the sound of your voice and then recommend wellness content to meet your emotional needs thereafter.
Kai found himself in need of this kind of help after the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School mass shooting. Kai was a junior at the time. 14 of his peers and 3 teachers lost their lives.
I struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder for a while after the tragedy, and it was very difficult.
Out of the struggle came triumph by way of the Joy app.
So I'm just going to plunge directly into the practices, right? This is horrible tragedy, but how do we come back from this individually, and how do we grow into stronger people moving forward?
And it's not just for people that are dealing with like something severe in trauma. It could just be a bad day, like maybe somebody cut them off in traffic.
Yeah.
Kai decided to create a mindfulness tool that uses practices he grew up using and make it accessible for everyone.
If we get it wrong, right, you can click edit emotion right here, right? And let's say, for instance, you're feeling sad.
While his classmates chose a different means to heal.
You saw a lot of these people really get galvanized towards, political solutions, or, kind of moving towards, let's say, whether it's safer gun laws or a whole host of legislative actions.
Kai wanted to make sure anyone could manage their emotions on their own terms.
It's all about kind of taking the circumstances you're faced with and treating those as growth opportunities, right? So you can kind of come back into the next day and the next week and the next month as a stronger person than you were before.
Give smiles to everyone you see. When you open a door, let the other person go.
I'm Chelsea Jones, CBS News, Miami.
A South Florida native is helping put food on families' tables, all while going grocery shopping for deals. How she's making Miami proud, next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. According to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, today there are more than 4 million breast cancer survivors living in the U.S. That's more than any other group of cancer survivors. Standing by those survivors' sides are their caregivers. CBS News Miami's Tanya Francois spoke to a couple about the role caregivers play in the fight against breast cancer.
In December, Scarlett Arguelles will be 10 years cancer-free. It's a milestone she and her husband don't take for granted. That's in part because he first felt her lump by chance, and that's not the only time he likely saved her life.
Now we got something to cook.
Cooking, cleaning, and caring for their home. Carlos Arguelles says he enjoys doing his part.
Being a partner, being there with her through all the moments, I think is very important.
For the Arguelleses, the important moments include Carlos supporting Scarlett when she was being treated for breast cancer. The lump he discovered with a simple, unintentional touch.
I just brushed up against you and I felt like maybe the side of your rib, and she's like, she said, that's weird, I'm not that skinny. And then she started to feel herself, and then she felt an actual lump in her breast.
Scarlett was no stranger to breast cancer. She'd lost her mom to the disease when she was just 20 years old. To win her fight, she knew she'd need help.
It's extremely important to have that caretaker be there for you.
For every doctor's appointment, every chemo treatment, every radiation, Carlos was right there.
I start thinking about, okay, all right, what is the strategy to fix this?
Carlos says chemo treatments were the worst.
I make sure that she knows I'm there when she wakes up and goes to sleep.
The The Arguelles made it a point to involve their young family. When Scarlett was diagnosed, their daughter was just 7 months old, their son 13.
We had a hair shaving party where our son is the one who shaved, you know, and you know, it was emotional, but we kind of turned it into a positive.
Those moments of positivity would prove to be pivotal.
It's probably the first time in my life that I realized how much I wanted to give up in life. And I want to say one time I felt like that. And it was while I was taking a shower. And he came in and he's like, you can't give up. We have a child, we have kids, and you have me.
It's those words, you can't give up, that carried them through treatment and the many years since. Carlos says his best advice for other caregivers, just be there. To learn more about the role of caregivers and the story of the Arguelles, you can go to our website at cbsmiami.com. In the newsroom, Tanya Francois, CBS News, Miami.
That support is so important. And a South Florida native whose parents moved here during World War II is making Miami proud. Carol Clarkson knows how expensive groceries can be, and that's why she puts her bargain hunting skills to good use for a good cause.
I like bargains, and it's kosher. Barilla is kosher. It's one of the few kosher ones at a reasonable price. It was buy one, get one.
Carol Clarkson can't pass up a good BOGO deal, but for her, it's more like buy one, give one.
Anyone can give a little bit. Those who can give a lot should give more. Those who can't, I know in this economy, there's a lot of people who need it.
Clarkson scours supermarkets for the best deals on groceries, not to stock her own shelves, but to fill the ones at the Dorit and Ben J. Janae cupboard in Davie. She donates hundreds of pounds of kosher groceries to the Goodman Jewish Family Services food pantry each month. She tries to shop for items that aren't usually donated, like sodium-free and sugar-free options for those with restrictive diets.
Paying full price, you don't get very much. I find some excellent bargains, and I spend the time when I get uptight or nervous or whatever, I go shop for food instead of going to the mall or something. I just hit grocery stores and pet food stores.
Carol is imperative to what we do here at the pantry. With the rising food costs, we are not able to raise enough money to provide food for all of the families that we serve.
Ross Adele is the director of operations at the cupboard. He lost his old job during the pandemic and says it very well could have been him at the pantry in need of food for his family. That's why generosity, like Clarkson's, is so vital.
Every little bit helps, whether it's one can of food or boxes of food. Don't throw anything away. Even if you think it can't go, you know, they say one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Because I have personal income, I feel I have to share it. God blessed me with the income, and I feel it's important that people and animals that don't have such good fortune share in it.
Clarkson says generosity is in her DNA. Her family has been giving back to the community since they moved to Broward in 1939. In addition to donating food, she's also known to make financial contributions whenever Goodman Jewish Family Services is in need. Thank you for joining us this half hour on Headliners. As always, keep it right here to CBS News Miami for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. Make it a great one.